love that has me standing here in front of you. And it's what had me conquer an avocado-sized brain tumor. There were those that didn't think I would be here today. But before I get into my story, what I really want to know is how many of you are familiar with vibration? Frequency? Levels of consciousness? Good vibes? I know most of you heard of that one, right? Yeah. So everything is vibration. Everything is energy. So for those of you not as familiar, imagine going into a setting where there are people there. They're complaining. They're gossiping. They're negative. They're just being victim-y. How do you feel when you leave a place like that? Drained? Exhausted? Yeah? Might even go home for a nap? I know I've done that. Anybody else? Yeah? Well, then how about a place like this? Yeah, listening to motivational and empowerment speakers, going to a Brene Brown event, or even going around those you know that are loving and have that fun, bubbly personality, just full of positive energy. How do you feel then? Uplifted, yeah, good. Energized. Another way to think of this is, we all know Mother Teresa, right? Think of Mother Teresa. She was a world impactor, and she was in that enlightenment frequency. And we also have somebody like Hitler, who was also a world impactor, but he came from that dark energy. So you have Mother Teresa, Hitler, light, dark, love, fear, expanded, contracted, power, force, positive, negative. And you can't have both of those at the same time. There's no fear in love. David R. Hawkins, who wrote Power versus Force and Letting Go, which is where I created this chart from, he actually describes how courage, as you see, there's a line right there. Courage is a middle marker that marks a shift from the negative to the positive. And doesn't it take courage to get out of fear and get into action? It does, doesn't it? That's empowerment at its finest. When you have the courage to take action in the face of your fears. And courage is that first step up that frequency ladder. Right? Another one of my favorite experts that I love to learn from, he's a biology expert, and he's a leader in the quantum physics arena, Dr. Bruce Lipton. He teaches us that we all communicate, all organisms communicate by vibration. And they know if they're in a high vibing place or in a low one. So take our dogs, for example. Anybody here have dogs? Yeah? What do they do when they know somebody's afraid of them? They growl. Do they growl? I know my dog growls. Yeah? And they also know when somebody is happy to see them. They get super excited. So animals in general, they just have this natural instinct, and they know that there's energy around them, and they can sense that energy. As humans, we have that same ability. We just haven't been trained to use that ability. If we were taught as children to be sensitive to the vibrations around us, we know how to recognize those frequencies. But instead, we're taught as children to actually not go by our feelings, but rather by the rules and norms of our parents and society, and by what we're told, right? He also explains that we're waves, and waves cannot be separated, which is exactly why we're all connected. And it's the same reason why when one person in one room can affect others in the same room. You can't separate waves. So this is actually exactly how placebo effect works. The placebo, as a lot of people know, and most of you know placebo, right? It's the positive and high-frequency thoughts that have the power to heal us. And on the other end of it, we have the nocebo effect, which is the negative and low-frequency thoughts that actually have the power to create any illness and even kill us. And so really when you look at this, as much as they say placebo and positive thinking has the power to heal you, well, negative thinking, nocebo, has the same power to kill you. And there's actually a ton of different articles out there about this, with the negative thinking and how it's really connected to different diseases and cancers. So the higher the frequency, the higher the consciousness, which is why love overpowers fear. And it's the frequency of love that heals all disease. It's the distrust, the hate, and the resentment that creates the disease. Again, there's a ton of articles out there that are scientifically proving that the frequency of love heals DNA, and it actually speeds recovery. So, I just want to demonstrate this. If you can all close your eyes for a moment, I want to just show you how your thoughts will impact your bodies. Imagine biting into a big wedge of a very juicy, sour lemon. Okay, go and open your eyes now. How many of your mouths are watering? Yeah, that's your thoughts impacting your body in seconds. Yeah. So now I'd like to share my story with you. Back in August of 2017, I went in for an MRI after having had random headaches. And those headaches began to gradually increase. The next thing I know, I started vomiting. Everything on Dr. Google showed me that it was migraines, and I kept ignoring the signs. Ladies, and gentlemen, if you leave with one thing today, just know this, that your bodies are always talking to you. At first, it'll be in the forms of like a whisper, like the minor headaches that I was having, and then they'll start to scream at you, like the massive headaches and then the vomiting. So thankfully, I had done a ton of personal transformation work a few years prior to my MRI. So when I went in for my 15-minute MRI that turned into 1 hour, and next thing I know, I'm being escorted to the emergency room and then the ICU, I was able to actually stay really calm, and I was being present. One thing I knew, and I was very aware of, is it was so important for me to stay positive. And I only allowed positive people to come visit me. Like, it was just, if you don't have love to bring to my room, you're just not welcome. Yeah. So I was in the ICU room 5 days before my surgery for the brain tumor, like for the swelling of my brain to get reduced before the actual surgery. And during those 5 days, we made it a party in the ICU. We actually called it a party in the ICU. And at minimum, I had 10 people surrounding me in that room, just pouring love my way. Do any of you remember the Mayweather-McGregor fight? Like that? Yeah? Yeah. We ordered that the Saturday before my ICU. Yeah, in the ICU. We ordered it and watched it. And so the day of my surgery, I posted on social media and I requested all the positive vibes. And I know, and I truly, truly believe that I had so much love and prayers being sent my way. I really could feel it. And I also know that it was the power of love that had me get out of a surgery. You see the tumor, right? Out of surgery in less than 1 hour when it was supposed to take 4 to 6 hours. And this was, again, a fourth of my brain, right? Like, you can see this. My amazing surgeon, by the way, thankfully was able to remove it all, plus the margins. I also know that it was the power of love and all that love sent to me from all over the world that had me out the ICU in less than 24 hours and out the hospital by the end of that week with a total of 10 days at the hospital. They had told me I was going to be there for 3 to 4 weeks. That was it was just miraculous, really. And all the physicians and nurses were just completely shocked at how quick my recovery was. I was shocked. I even had a nurse come in and she told me specifically, she's like, I could feel a difference in energy in this room. And some people feel it more than others. Some people have, that connection. Like if they were taught to, learn about it, they've been able to recognize it more, and she really could feel it. And my amazing husband, who then was my fiance, a few weeks after, he scheduled an appointment at the courthouse. Even though we had our wedding plans for the following year, he scheduled an appointment at the courthouse for us to get married. just to show me that I have nothing to worry about and to show me that he's in this with me. So I know that these magical and miraculous moments were all because of the power of love. I was in a love bubble. And I also know that my mindset, belief in that same power of love is what had me cured, despite any prognosis. And to be honest, I don't believe in prognosis, because that's more of that nocebo effect, in my opinion. Even during chemotherapy, which I just completed in December, so it's been almost, thank you. It's been almost 6 months, and when I would take my pills, every night I would talk to my pills. Every night I would talk to them, express my gratitude for them. I would really look at them as a partner. And I would ask my body to partner with this medication for the purpose of my life in the long run. And committing at the same time that I will do everything possible to detox and cleanse once treatment is complete, which I've done that. That's why you see me standing here pretty healthy. So it really was the first time that I was able to really experience the power of self-love. Self-love is so important to have. I was always putting myself last, and not anymore. I'm number one. And then once my cup is filled, others will get the same. I never ever thought of chemo as putting poison in my body. I can't imagine what it would be like for my body if I had thought about it that way. Anyone can reprogram their mind, and anyone can heal their body by doing so. Your thoughts have to be made of love, and your belief has to be very strong, no matter what it is you believe in. And if you are in a low vibing place, because, we all get there. So anytime you are in that low vibing place, you have the chart in the back, there are ways to raise that frequency. So some of the universal ones include, going to nature, ocean, waterfalls, meditation, music. For me personally, I know anytime I feel low, I always dance or I go play volleyball, and those always raise my frequency. Lastly, I'd like to leave you with this. Anytime there's judgment present of yourself or others, love is missing. And it is always, always your choice to live life to the fullest in the face of any circumstance. And I now, yes. Yeah, the judgment piece?
Yes.
Yeah. So anytime judgment is missing, anytime judgment is present of yourself or others, love is missing. Yes, you're so welcome. Yeah, and so now I've become an empowerment coach during this rebirth process. I have a rebirth, small little album out there if you'd like to take a look. And I work with those that are dealing with health-related issues. Because that, to me, is my passion now. After going through what I went through and empowering myself through this, I want to be there to empower others as well. Thank you.